Today it's time for a best of 7 series of top level StarCraft 2. It's time for the #1 Zerg on the planet to take on the #1 Terran. As spotting right here in the upper left, we have the world champion of StarCraft 2, who goes by the name of Serral. Down in the bottom right, playing in blue, from South Korea, we have Maru. Maru taking on Serral yet again? This is ridiculous. They have faced off a bunch of times lately, and this is the one series that they played that I haven't seen just yet. So, this is actually from the PiG Sty Festival, a tournament that, with a grand finals of $10,000, right? I did cast that series. The grand finals of that particular event was Maru going up against Serral. So, the irony is that they played another best of 7 earlier on in the event, and that is this particular one right over here. I find it very funny that you have the absolute top dogs going at each other relatively early on in the event. You end up facing each other in a best of 7, and, well, it turns out at the very end of things, one of these players, of course, gets knocked down to the lower bracket, but then ultimately they meet once more in the grand finals. And like I said, I haven't seen these games yet, so I'm very excited for it. This should be an absolute banger. We are starting off on Winter Madness, a really nice, solid map. And obviously in a best of 7, you only have 1 veto each. So to start off on a pretty neutral map is always quite nice. I find this one so difficult, though, to predict, right? So whenever we discuss who the greatest StarCraft 2 players of all time are, these are the 2 names that are brought up more so than any other. And while Serral seems to be on another tear lately, there's no denying that Maru is an absolute beast. He's been enjoying a bit of mech again. He's actually been playing quite a bit of mech on this particular map. So I'm actually curious to see if that is going to be the case here. I've also actually seen Serral take this as his 3rd base quite frequently. Now, this is a command center first opener for Maru, so Serral is not going to be getting his normal 3rd hatchery blocked, but I wonder if he's still going to be opting for the one right over here on the right? No. He is going to be taking the triangle expansion. He's taken the one on the right a few times already. It's a little curious. I'm not entirely sure what the logic behind the patterns here are, but I guess he's just, yeah, maybe mixing things up a little bit. I know there are some pesky, annoying spots as well, where a Liberator later on in the game may be a little bit difficult to reach, especially with this particular expansion. Not as much of an issue over here with this particular, well, 3rd if you take it, but on the whole, most Zerg players do opt to go for, well, the one that Serral just took. Either way, this is a command center first build, and even though Serral doesn't really know exactly about all of the timings, he will have spotted the Reaper moving out just now, and that will already give him all of the intel that he needs. Even though Serral hasn't really seen anything, he will know at this point that it's a command center first, because it's really the only thing here that makes sense. Maru has decided, though, to go for a very greedy opener here, too. It's an immediate 3rd command center on the back of this as well. So we're going CC first, then a single Reaper, straight into a reactor on the barracks, and now we're going to be pumping out, interestingly enough, not 2 Hellions at a time, but we're going to go 2 Marines and then into a Hellion here, and maybe the switcheroo here in just a moment. Immediate double NG base as well. My god. This is so ridiculously greedy. This is not going to be Terran mech, by the way, even though Maru has been favoring it on this map. This is so ridiculously greedy, you quite literally lose to any form of Zerg aggression. Even just like 20 Zerglings could go ahead and win the game right about right now. Luckily for Maru, he's going up against a very greedy Zerg as well, but certainly a little bit more conservative. Yeah. Serral will scout out. Oh, the Zergling actually gets in. He will scout out exactly what he's playing against, and at this point he will know, if I would have been aggressive, I would have won the game by now. But I'm a little afraid that at this point, with the speed at which StarCraft 2 games happen, that ship has already sailed. So how do you, how do you fight greed when you can't really deal damage to it anymore? You fight it with greed of your own. Yeah, you try to out-greed the greed. And then at some point, if the meta develops too far, we end up seeing players go like triple hatch before spawning pools and very fast triple command centers and all the rest of it. Usually that meta rolls around for a little bit and then, well, we just see 1 base all-ins being reintroduced. Not necessary in this particular game, but something to keep in mind for the remainder of this series, because of course this is a best of 7. Super greedy 4th hatchery as well by Serral. Look at him pumping out drones. He knows that his only choice right here is just to try and counter the Terran's economy with more economy of his own. He's gonna skyrocket straight to 3 base saturation by like minute 5. Which is really fast. Double upgrades now coming up as well. Admittedly, the ones for the Terran are a little bit faster, but... This is I guess like a gentleman's agreement, you know? Like, this is the StarCraft equivalent of like 10 minutes no rush. And the 10 minutes are gonna be closer to probably like 6. What game was it again that did that? Was it Red Alert? Or Generals? Oh, I played a game a long time ago where it was quite normal to just do 10, sometimes even like 20 minutes no rush. It's kind of weird though, because everybody sucked at RTS games back then, at least everybody I played against. RTS games are one of those things, you know, where maybe you think you're good at it until you actually look at people that are good at it and you realize you kind of suck. I had this experience playing chess, for example. I thought I was pretty good at chess because I could beat most people at my school. And then I started playing people outside of my school. Yeah, it turns out my God, Jimmy gets a private jet! Jimmy's too good to go with the other lads! Disgusting, you don't want to be mixing with the plebs. 1-1 is done, by the way. 2-2 fired up 6 minutes in. 4th command center nearly done, 2nd factory finishing. Like, seriously, this production tab here is nuts. We will have a Spire here. What's kind of funny is that the Spire feels late, given the current situation. But it's actually 6 minutes of in-game time with 1-1 finishing. It's really not that crazy. But given the current state of Terran here, I really wonder how much damage Mutas can really do. This is going to be Mutaling Bane here for Serral. He did see the 4th command center, and he will see the lack of the one inside of the main base here in a moment, which is a big indication that it's flown off into the sunset and possibly another mineral line. Very likely another mineral line. Maru will probably not go for a big push until 2-2 is done. So the Marines don't even have combat shields yet. It's gonna finish up in just a moment. He's mostly just poking. Look at it, 6 barracks on the production tab. So we've gone, dude, this is crazy. 4 command center, 2 barracks, very quick double upgrades, 2 factory, and then we go straight up to 8 racks. What in the world? Oh, if he gets the council in his base, that would be glorious. Not going to happen here for Maru. Yeah, this is one of those builds, man, where if you're a Terran player and you're inspired by it, I don't think you want to give it a shot on the ladder. No, I think if you play this particular build on the ladder, you'll probably die within, you know, minutes. This is only really something that makes sense if you have a deep understanding of what your opponent is going to be doing. All right, let's see. Mutas are coming, 12 of them all at once. Once more, the Marines get picked up, though. Serral is on top of all of it, and this is now a game of momentum and speed. We can do a little bit of first-person view. This is what Serral is looking at. When there aren't any Hellions out on the map, and when there aren't a whole lot of Marines in general, you do have a lot of time to spread creep, right? And that is one of the main APM bottlenecks that Zergs will run into. Like, we can almost expect Serral to have near-perfect macro, so that right there was him injecting. He just injected about 6 hatcheries there in a 10th of a second. Anyways, like that sort of macro we can sort of expect to be near perfect, but the Marine micro counter and then all of the multitasking you can do with, well, the creep spread and all the rest of it, it's a very difficult prioritization. This is what near 600 average or 600 active actions per minute looks like. I'm gonna be taking control of the camera again because you can imagine it might be a little bit nauseating. Either way, Serral just demolished a mineral line. And he also easily held the main attack right there for Maru. Yeah. Doing a phenomenal job so far. Yep. Snipes one of the Widow Mites. He would love to kill that armory. Not going to happen. There is still a literal minefield out here. Alright, let's have a look at Maru's first-person view. Admittedly, this is a slightly less... let's call it a passionate moment in the game. Slightly less action-packed. But the speed is still there, right? Usually the hallmark of a really good player is the amount of screen scrolling that they do. Most of the absolute top dogs in StarCraft seem to use camera location control groups for practically everything. Oh, you see that mule? Yeah, you can see it right here with Maru as well. He's really not scrolling the screen around very much. As I take control of the cam again. There is sadly for Maru, though, a single mule. Thinking about its life as a yellow mining machine. As it will ultimately expire, being unable to return the minerals, apparently. A little bit unlucky with the positioning right there of that one missile turret. All right, let's see. We have a lot of Zerg units right now out on the map. Both players are fully maxed out. Creep spread is looking pretty ridiculous considering the size of Winter Madness. A lot of multitasking though. Yeah, I feel like both players are playing unit compositions here that are just so freaking tough. There is a planetary, however, set up. Ooh, Widowmine! Oh, really juicy hit there. Honestly, oh, kill the planetary. Okay, jeez. Serral does end up killing it. In the meantime, he's also pushing on the right side, and he kills 2 planetaries at the exact same time. Normally, that is not a play you go for. Luckily there for Maru, he ended up getting paid reasonably well. That was expensive for the Zerg, to say the least, but I mean, you can still tell here that Terran also lost a tremendous amount of stuff. This is now when we go back into the command center production. Loads of CZs added into the mix. 4 supply depots built all at once. 3-3 already finishing up right here for Terran. Serral only just now starting up his own, but it's because he took that little tech transition into Mutalisks. He will catch up in the upgrade count here eventually. Because this game is not looking like one where Maru is going to be able to win with a timing attack alone. I highly doubt it. This is a lovely snipe, actually. I don't quite understand the positioning there of the armory. I mean, I understand that the odds of your opponent going Mutas are relatively low, but they're never quite zero. Especially when you play super greedy. Alright. Serral trying to get rid of some of the Widow Mines that are out on the field. Maru, though, is going to be able to re-establish 1 planetary. And I guess the main problem here for the South Korean Terran, yeah, is that he's just been halted with mining for so long. And right when it's all starting back up, that's when Zerg decides to commit once again. Serral, though, splitting up a lot of his troops. Yeah, the Mutas were still on cleanup duty. What about the Baneling roll-by right over here? There's multiple tanks, not gonna happen. Perfect defense right there for Maru. Now the Mutas will try and join in, but there's a Thor nearby, a bunch of Widow Mines as well. Ooh, close. One of the Widow Mines almost fired. So far, though, Serral is doing Serral things. Despite the fact that Maru got away with the greediest Terran build I've ever seen him do. It is, yeah, still Serral who seems to be reigning supreme. Never really running into a lot of problems, right? Like, that really is the key with Serral's gameplay. He seems to have an answer for practically everything, and he seems to be able to, like, deviate from the plan that he had very rapidly, too. Pretty much perfect macro, perfect micro. Capable of running all unit compositions. Now, that right there was big for Maru. The first time, oh, he gets some really juicy hits there onto the Mutas. I think the age of the Muta is right about over right here. My God, Maru just destroyed it. The age of the Muta is indeed a well and done at this point. We're gonna go and switch it up and go into some Ultralisks. The problem for Maru, right, is you end up killing a lot of your opponent's stuff, right? It's nice. But this is not a comp for Terran where you can really capitalize on it. Because there's so much creep out. Maybe this little counter-attack here with the Marines and the Marauders and the Medevac. Okay, this is nice. He gets one of the head trees knocked down. But you effectively need to be trading like that over and over and over again. Knowing very well that Zerg is going to take like 75% of the map if you give them enough time. And that's my main concern here. Like, Maru is trading phenomenally. Getting some decent value, but look at the minimap. Like, look at the minimap for just a sec. You have to take more bases here as Terran. You cannot run this strategy in the long run if you don't have at least, I want to say, 40% of the map taken. So Serral will be able to take traits like that day in and day out. Now he's going to start backstabbing as well with some Midas Worms. We are headed, though, into a more Death Bowl type of army here for Terran. Lovely snipe. Yeah, he's adding in Ghost right now. So we're ending up with a Ghost mech type of unit composition. Serral, though, already going into a Greater Spire as well. Building up some Infestors. Broodlord Infestor would be a very sustainable choice for him, too. I guess one issue right now that Serral's running into is that he's got so many bases that he actually can't mine it all. Need like 120 workers for it. Couple of caustic sprays going down as well from the Corruptors. Man, absolute cinema over here. Serral, again, he is gonna lose so much stuff, but he will kill the base. And in a weird way, right, if you end up killing these bases repeatedly, even if it's super cost inefficient, you'll still keep the Terran player from expending themselves further out onto the map. Like, Maru is preoccupied taking a base that he's had for like 5 minutes. But, yeah, what he really should be occupied with, yep, is indeed taking another base down south, and that's exactly what he's doing right here. He is not gonna let Serral just control this game as much as he has been. Maru needs at least 2 more bases. It's weird to say because he's rich, he's got a lot of command centers, but it turns out his next door neighbor is richer than he is. Keeping up with the Joneses in StarCraft is tough, man. +3 air weapons already researching, by the way, for Zerg. Yeah, Maru gets a really lovely engagement, though, I will say. Would love to see this thing morph into a planetary fortress, too. Serral already setting up Nidus worms all the way around. I think for Maru, for this game to be okay, he needs to take this expansion over here, the one down south, and the one in the corner. It's not an impossible job, but it's gonna take a very slow push. I really do like, though, the fact that he took this base so early on the right side of the map, because taking this expansion on the right means that it's gonna run out soon as well. I mean, you should probably transfer some SCVs to it, just to mine it out a bit quicker. It would mean, though, that he doesn't have to spread his defenses so thin. He can focus on just attacking the bottom left. Serral, though, knows exactly what Maru is trying to do. He's preventing it for now, but this is going to be costly. Engaging deep off creep right over here. So many siege tanks, so many ghosts. The Thors also are capable of taking a beating. I don't think we're going to be remaking them. Oh, great fungal, though, here for Serral as he does push through right now. He's covering the screen as well, creating a bit of a force field, making it impossible for some of those Terran units to escape as the Changelings are blocking their retreat. More snipes, though, are going down. Serral holds positions there for just a moment. That is a mistake, as more snipes will indeed connect there with the Zerg army, and Serral has to give up on the position. Maru is going to be able to finish the job. He starts up even more factories right now. You love to see it, man. These guys are so freaking good. Puts a smile on my face. All right. Look at that. We have the... Well, this is the second and the third armory, actually, because the one in the natural ended up dying. Now Maru is going to also destroy another hatchery over here. And you know what? I just said it. I think he needs to take this entire bottom left-hand corner, or at the very least make sure that Zerg cannot mine it. And he's done exactly that, within just like a minute. Ridiculously fast pace here for Maru, getting about the perfect fights there in the end, even though it looked a little bit shaky for just a moment. Technical nukes to try and rub some salt in the wound. Serral, though, is going to pick up the pace here as well in just a moment, as he's going now into Brooklord Infestor with a bunch of Infestors and Neural Parasite as well, so he's going to have a lot of tools available for him. We have Microbial Shroud queued up. Also in that same infestation pit. Okay. Yeah, I really like that Maru is sending his mules over on this base. There's still like maybe 5 minutes of mining worth over here. But he's already gobbling up the bottom left. My god, Maru is actually stepping up the pace here quite a lot. It's an interesting comp, right? Because he's making the switch for, like, from Bio into Ghost Mech. But now he's actually still committing to making a bunch of Marines and Marauders, and he's using that as a more mobile hit squad to go after those outer bases. One hero siege tank trying to see if it can get some damage done, and well, Serral's going to be able to apparently kill that base on the right side of the map. It is indeed the most likely location for the Zerg player to attack into. Maru has now sniped the mirrored position on the other side, and he is now indeed taking up the entire left side corner. He is deep on the creep, though, and that's dangerous. Keep in mind that Zerg can remax really quickly. Much faster than Terran can. Still, with the amount of planetaries here, I don't think that is going to be as much of an issue. Maru's left a lot of siege tanks behind. A load of Widow Mines as well. I mean, that's... Look at that. That is the indication of some really strong gameplay. Maybe the mineral fields will smell of Terran. But sometimes you gotta take what you can get. Likewise, though, we have that hatchery now retaken on the left side of the map. The base that Maru just ended up killing. And if we zoom out, I think with this type of progress, Maru is going to have a sufficient economy in the long run. Like, Serral needs to mine, I want to say, a minimum of 60% of the map. Because he's not going to be cost efficient the longer that this game goes on, unless he takes crazy fungals. So if Maru can mine out, 55% or so of the map, I think he will end up coming out richer. Just because of the cost efficiency. So, action in my mind is very much so right here on Serral now. I can't believe how quickly Maru took the bottom left. I really thought we were going to see him struggle in the bottom left-hand corner for a while, but look at him. To celebrate this success, we're building 4 additional command centers. Now, as we've discussed many times before, it is important not to go too crazy with the command center situation. The Terran, of course, needs to build far more infrastructure than Zerg, and that is where some of those resource differences can definitely be an advantage for the Zerg player. Terran just needs to spend more money on structures. The Zerg is kind of lucky in that regard. No reason for Zerg to go and build 8 spawning pools or 8, greater spires, right? That doesn't make any sense. So, Maru does need some cash. And needs to be careful that he doesn't spend all of it on command centers. Looks like both players, though, have made their way towards the left side of the map. Tactical Nuke is flying towards one of the right side expansions. There's a little ghost right there on the ramp. Serral, though, preoccupied. He did get a fungal off over here and some microbial shrouds, too. But does he see the red dot? He does not. Luckily, right here, though, for Serral, it only hits 2 of his workers. Maru really just meaning it as a distraction. He should have probably gone for the big hit. Could have had the entire mineral line. He did not expect that Zerg wasn't going to be able to find it. Yeah, now he's indeed going to just show and reveal the location of that ghost, as it is still 32 kills, by the way. It is still going to be able to get some additional snipes in on those workers. And while eventually the ghost will die, 33 confirmed kills under its belt, not bad whatsoever. Serral's going to lose this hatchery on the left side again, though, I'm afraid. More tactical nukes coming up. Zergo, ooh, is going to commit. We get a fungal onto the Thors. I don't really like the idea of Banelings crashing into it. It's a very cost-efficient play for the Terran. Banelings are very expensive in comparison to the Thor here anyways, which is kind of ironic. The Thor being, of course, one of the more expensive Terran units out there, but it can tank so many hits. And as we're now making the switch towards Hellbets, or Firebets right over here, as a wise man once called them, we are going to be adding on the Blue Flame upgrade too. Finally, the hatchery over here on the right side was ready to be taken, but Maru is all over that as well. Whew. Beautiful game to start off the match, man. Yeah, it's not going to happen with Zorklings alone, Serral. I don't believe it. Nope, nope, nope. Advanced Ballistics finishing up. Smart Servos coming up as well. Maru is getting all of the luxury upgrades. He's got building armor already. I wouldn't mind high-sec auto-tracking. It's a little bit of a missed opportunity in my mind, but I guess he's been preoccupied. Or maybe I just didn't see it properly, I don't know. Okay, we're going to be going into the Medevac regen improvement too. And this is one of the really nice things for Terran in the late game. Like, Serral has been effectively maxed out as far as all of the fancy upgrades go for like 5 minutes. Maru is still getting more and more goodies. It makes that late game Terran army a lot more sustainable. And it's one of the reasons why Terran can compete in the late game. Those upgrades are really nice. The one hero Infestor over here, it had big dreams, but ultimately it ends up getting shut down. Yeah. Every Infestor has got a dream. Until they get sniped in the mouth. As Mike Tyson once famously said. Tactical nuke here. This is when you know it's getting a little bit extreme for Terran, the amount of money they have. Because we're doing a little bit of creep clearing with nukes. Zergling run by over here, though. Yeah, I will say, this is one of those things where sometimes it can go horribly wrong for Terran, because you feel like you're never gonna run out of cash. Right? Because Maru has like 10,000 resources in the bank. That never almost ever happens for Terran, but he's going up against a Zerg who has even more money than that. So you do have to be careful that you don't just start throwing away tactical nukes and make too many command centers, because you do end up needing to destroy your opponent. Maru, though, man, he's taken so much of the map. I can't believe he's got this base now up and running here again, too. Serral needs to send in the Ling run buys, because this is not an expansion that he can afford losing. Now it's going to be Maru here being the aggressor once again, and ultimately this is buying a bunch of time to gobble up more of those mineral fields. Terran, of course, does have that really nice advantage of being able to drop mules. Those mineral fields will run out pretty quickly because of the fast mining. Again, the mirrored locations, man. They are going to get shut down. Corruptors are going to be able to shoo away this orbital command for good. Hatchery will be rebuilding. In the meantime, we have a command center ready to take the mirrored location as well on the other side of the map. And as this is going right now, even though Serral can build up an army that... whatever he likes, right? He can just build and purchase anything he wants. I'm a little bit afraid that this is one of those setups for the Zerg where he is going to fizzle out in the long run. Because Terran is now mining a very sufficient amount, possibly even more than the Zerg player. And if that ends up being the case, considering the cost efficiency, he may run into problems here later on in the game. So, what do you do right now as Serral? Maru is clearly not slowing down. I think Serral's best chance is to take an incredible fight. Like, if he can hit a fungal growth, capture most of the ghosts in one hit, or hit a neural parasite or something and EMP the rest of the ghosts and then crush through, there's a lot of potential in this Zerg army. We have a bunch of Misreli Terran units here. Thors are, of course, pricey. Thor's going up against Ultras. That's 2026 StarCraft for you. Both of those units were considered to be pretty much unusable for quite a long time. I really like that we're actually making Thors a core part of the unit composition now, dude. How many Thors have we had this game? 6. 6 dead Thors, 5 available right now, making 3 more. Why are we building them? Normally, they are really meant as a counter to flying units only. Especially against Mutas, they're really quite good. Against Brute Lords, they're decent these days, but not as good as they once were. Brute Lords are quite a bit more powerful than they were in the previous versions of StarCraft, but... yeah, the Thor becoming a core unit composition here, I mean, it's the one thing that also has me a little bit concerned. But it is really cool to see. Strange unit comp, right? Like, he can make anything he wants, and he's making Hellbat, Ghost, Medevac, Thor. Is that really what you want to be building here as the Terran player? Like, that's my... like, are we throwing it with the building of this particular army? Look at the army value right now in the upper left. There is just so much money tied up here for the Zerg player. Comparatively, big fungal growth. A lot of that money, though, is tied up in Banelings. Blinding Clouds also end up going down. Fungal growth slowing down this entire Terran army. The Banelings, they're trying their absolute best to catch up with those ghosts. In the meantime, the Thors are trying their absolute best to just kill all of the broods. Another siege tank will fall. Banelings decide to retreat for just a second. I think Maru needs to go for a more powerful late game army. Like, he's remixing again with more of those Hellbats. But it has me a little bit concerned. Serral's going to be able to bounce back with a very expensive army yet again. Income-wise, Terran has indeed grabbed the upper hand. You can tell when the mules are mining, so it's a little bit up and down. I'm starting to get nerd chills, man. This is game number 1 in a best of 7. And we're already going north of the 30-minute mark now. That's... oh, I need more coffee. Clearly, that's what we need. What an exhausting way as well for them, though, to start this off, right? Like, look at the average actions per minute. Serral's like 9 buttons a second here. Maru ever so slightly slower, but it's a ridiculous speed to be playing a video game at. Like, physically, this is extremely tiring. I know it sounds maybe a little bit ironic, because these guys are sitting behind a keyboard and pressing buttons really fast. But the brain uses a lot of calories. And this is one of those things where you have to be careful, man, that you don't just waste all your energy early on. Once more, we get some good fungals. Maru pushes the Zerg army away. But at this point, there's not really that much going on in this base anyways. A little Zergling run by attempted. Expansion on the left side once more gets cleaned up. Dude, normally this map always devolves to a fight for the corner bases. So we have another planetary getting sniped in the middle. But now we actually have the fight mostly coming down to the fourth expansions here. Of both players, right? Like the base on the left and then the base on the right. Those seem to be the ones that we skirmish for. Okay. Okay. The Battle of the Banks. These guys have a little bit of minerals. A little bit of gas as well. As far as the IRL banks go, I would imagine Serral is winning it. But Maru certainly has not done poorly for himself in his StarCraft 2 career over time. It's just that Serral is the one StarCraft 2 player that has earned more cash money just in prize pools alone than anybody else. Maru, though, still, I think, probably close to like $1.5 million or so in tournament earnings. Which is not, you know, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not, you know, nothing to scoff at. Is it the right call, though, for Maru to be making this many Thors? Is that what we need to be doing? Because it has me a little bit worried. We are also now approaching the part of the game where Terran can start giving up on the amount. Look at this. He's trying to steal minerals. If you can't have him, nobody can. I mean, if the mules die, the minerals will disappear. Well, he's actually getting quite a few of them back. He just scanned. He's getting vision again. Look at him stealing the minerals. That's so cheeky. I mean, he's trading energy here. And he's stealing minerals that now will be nobody's. Like if the Kuprulu sector tax authorities show up, let the record show that those minerals magically disappeared. Nobody knows where the mule... oh my god, Jimmy's. I'm sorry, lads. You guys are being traded out. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. You were... I hate to break it to you all, but you were a waste of supply. 31 minutes into this game. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, guys. What you get for that private jet journey you were on at minute 4. We're not doing that sort of thing anymore. We have moved past that point. Okay. A lot of static defense up on the high ground. Serral has decided that he no longer cares about this base over here. He's effectively decided that now we're going to be slowing this all down a bunch. Likewise, though, it means that the fourth base on the left side will be completely mined out by the Zerg. I do wonder, though, if this is the right call for Serral. Because he's now effectively decided that apparently his best case scenario in this game is to mine 50% of the map. And if we look at the resources lost, it's pretty much always going to be beneficial for Terran. Obviously, there is still not quite that big of a bank difference between these two, and that is because Maru has been forced to make so many more structures. He's got a lot of money tied up in buildings. But Serral apparently has decided that mining 50% of the map is what he's gonna be okay with right now. I don't know if he actually will be happy with that, though. I think Maru will be very pleased with how this is all going so far, but he needs to be incredibly careful, especially for the Zerg spellcasters. There's the Viper with abductions. Likewise, of course, we can see neural parasites. Microbial Shroud is unironically really powerful in these late-game scenarios. Ghost here is hunting for some goodies. He wanted to get the EMP off, and that is something that Maru will be hunting for. The Ghost EMP ability allows it to remove energy out of units that it targets. So, of course, he's going to be looking for those Vipers. Of course, he's going to try and hit the Infestor Clump. Another tactical nuke is being used over here. Oh. The Ghost EMP to the Overseer is on its way out. No more changelings for a couple seconds. I think Serral will be okay with that. He'd rather lose the energy on the Overseers than the Infestors at the very least. Okay. Maybe we do the same thing over here, you know? Maybe we mass mule drop it right over in that location too. The Thors do get some decent hits in. Thors do have a lot of range, by the way. They are going to be able to hit those Brute Lords reasonably well. Another Misreli Thor. We do have a bunch of SCVs dying too. Both players start to give up their worker count right now so they can replace it with actual army units. The age of mining is over. 22 or 24 workers rather remain right now for Serral, 31 for Maru. Maru can certainly start getting rid of more of them as well though over the next minute or two. This is Serral attacking with the drones just because he wants to get rid of it. They're all taking up 1 supply each, and he needs more supply available for actual army. Okay. Yeah. These guys, I think they are going to be sent to their graves here in a moment. You guys have served the Terran Dominion well. Now you get to serve in death. I know. Sucks to be you, man. Alright, let's see. Maru again, though, marches deep onto creep, and it has me a little bit concerned. He is scanning ahead at every direction, so I guess he knows that there's no burrowed infestors anywhere close by. Big fungal growth over here, blinding cloud as well. Serral decides to take control of a bunch of those stores, and is this the fight that the finisher has been looking for this entire time? The ghosts are once more running away, trying to stay alive as the banelings do crash through. Corruptors going around the site. They will be taking care of all of the liberators. And Serral seems to have just done it again. Did those ghosts actually make it out? Yeah, the majority of them are available, but Serral just took a banger of a fight there. Really getting pretty much the perfect engagement. And that is going to bring Maru back to the drawing board. Maru now at 121 supply only. Forced to spend that big bank of his. And this is, of course, what Serral does better than any other Zerg out there. The late game control between all of the different moving parts is kind of ridiculous. Still, Maru is going to have to spend some of his bank, but he's got a lot of bank. Serral can remax really quickly, but this is a slow-moving Zerg army, and not really one that can just immediately counterattack and capitalize on that advantage. There's also a ton of static defense set up for Maru, so it would take a while for the Zerg to actually break through all of it. And I guess that's one of the downsides right here for Zerg. So in the most recent patch, the Brute Lord, it did get stronger. But they're also a little bit slower now to move with. Meaning that oftentimes when you actually go for an attack with the Brute Lords, it is a one-way trip. Serral apparently not confident about leaving the creep here. He wanted to make sure that he's got a little bit more wiggle room. Lots of mules end up dying here, but of course that is just energy gone for Maru, so not the end of the world. Man, the entire map is gonna mine out. Yeah, we're actually getting to the stage in this particular game. Man, this is map number 1 in a best of 7. The entire map is run out. Serral's actually not mining anymore, other than this long distance over here. He is now scavenging 270 minerals right up in that field, but that's it. Maru once more carves a path straight through the middle of the map. Serral has started adding in a lot of queens as well, just to, yeah, get another spellcaster out, because that is the only type of thing that you will gain over time. More and more energy is available. Some nice blinding clouds once more too, though. Serral moves forward. You have to be careful. Once more, a lot of snipies are going down. Nice play right here from Maru, inviting those corruptors very far forward. Bunch of SCVs fall, though, as the Zergling run-by does hit hard. Serral instantly remaxes, and this is one of those things, man, where I'm a little bit worried for Terran. Another massive blinding cloud and fungal growth does end up going down. Serral is just tearing this army apart on creep. Maru confidently moves in, and then he confidently loses all of the units. And while maybe some of them will slip away, that was too expensive. Yeah, Maru kind of controlling this absolute late game army of his a little too frivolously. Like, honestly, I wonder if this is a misread from him, right? Where he believes, okay, I've been mining out my half of the map. Maybe I've potentially even mined more than 50% of the map out. So therefore, Zerg is not going to have that much money available, right? Well, they shouldn't. But you just threw away 2 gigantic forces. And it's going to be costly in the long run. These last couple of fights have been phenomenal for Serral. Yeah, look at how stable his army size count has been. Compared to the Terran, who took some really big dips. Still, Serral did spend the majority of his bank. No longer maxed out himself yet either. Maru needs to also spend all of the minerals and gas that he has to quickly get that money down. I think Serral probably needs to commit here to a big fight. I'm wondering if this slow advancement is the right call to make. Obviously, though, it's very difficult for them to get the full picture in a game like this. Even though we can see the exact mineral counts and all the rest of it. The players will have to make, well, educated guesses. Serral has apparently decided that slowing it down is the right call. I wonder if a little bit of speed would be better. We have a few of the ghosts now cloaking forward, trying to see if they can get a big EMP. Big EMP! Huge EMPs! All of those infestors can say their energy goodbye. Lovely move right there from Maru. He does lose one ghost, but he probably just bought like 2 minutes of time there. Serral's broke. Serral has no money anymore coming in. His income, I mean, it's not like Maru is rich, but Serral's income is down to 0 minerals a minute. There is no more money on the Zerg side of the map, and with these drones finishing their jobs, that's it. No more mining anymore for Serral at all. Likewise here for Maru, he is mining out the final scraps, but that's it. Maru has still a couple thousand minerals and gas available in total, and he really needs to max out, man. Maru, careful. This is one of the downsides for Terran. Sometimes you look at your supply count and you think you're maxed out, but you don't quite realize the amount of units that are still in production. They already count towards your total. There's zero reason here for Maru to dive deep onto creep again. Okay, the reinforcing units are showing up. It looks like Maru is indeed thinking about that. Sometimes it's easy to get tunnel visioned at this stage in the game. Serral trying to get some energy back on those Vipers of his. The Infestors, I think they must have enough energy again for a Neural Parasite, or at least they're close to it. No, they actually don't yet. Yeah, it means that Serral needs to back up. Engaging on creep is scary. Serral trying to long distance mine. Is he long distance mining the third base of the Terran player? This is crazy, dude. He's found the final scraps. All right, I'm going to keep my camera over here, though, because this is where the game is going to be decided. Maru has his opponent exactly where he needs him. My god, apparently there was a lag spike right now. That's absolutely atrocious. Terrible time here for the players as one of the observers in the game apparently lagged out. Still, it was at the very least not during the fight. Okay. Time to catch your breath again. Maru's trying to box in Serral. Serral has now been in his natural expansion for a while already. He's got a nice army, but I don't know if it's good enough. Maru has also been spending more and more of his resources on the total cost of his army, comparatively to where we were earlier on in this game. But Zerg still has spent more money on all of this. Oh, Ultralisks on the wrong control group or just mispositioned for just a sec. They get drawn into the line of fire and both of them end up going down. A really good start. Serral is stuck in the corner. He's going to have to pull the trigger. The question is mostly when. I don't really think he has got much of a choice anymore as he decides to crash through for just a moment. He wants the Brute Lord to engage as well, but Maru has really done a phenomenal job getting this Zerg player exactly where he wants him. The Infestors are trying to break through. They want to go for some Neural Parasites, but it's not going to happen. Maru wins a spectacular game number 1. Okay, that will take us to 10,000 feet. I don't think I've ever seen Serral in that position before. Serral boxed into his corner, desperately trying to break out, but being unable to get the job done. And that wasn't even the perfect game right there for Maru either. Like, that game... Okay, that Reaper Grenade, likewise, did not go entirely according to plan. Oh, nice drone snipe. Yeah, the drone here needs a little bit of space in order to actually plant down that Spore Crawler, even though it's only a 1x1. You do need to actually find the room for it. Okay, 10,000 feet it is. This is another macro map. We can play another 40-minute banger over here. I've covered a lot of Zerg versus Terrans here over the last few months, where it's a fight for the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock base. It's very doable. I'm just saying. I may need to get a bigger bottle of water. Maybe you need to get another cup of coffee. I don't know. Maybe I need to get more coffee. I'm actually drinking a little bit less coffee today. Lauren made the crazy decision that maybe what I should do is drink tea for breakfast. So I followed her advice, and I had tea for breakfast today. rather than like a large cup of coffee, which I always do. Because she wanted tea, and I figured, you know what? I'll make tea. I'll make tea for everybody. I'm only on a single cup of coffee today. Normally, we're down to... Yeah, normally we'd be at least 2 or 3 in right now. Is this a good idea? I don't know. I have noticed, though, ever since Bella has been born, or Bella was born, about 9 weeks ago-ish, my coffee intake has steadily creeped up. My caffeine consumption has slowly crept up, and I gotta... It's not into a territory where things are dramatically terrible, but I do have to be a little bit careful about that. Yeah, it's very easy. Yeah, it's very easy for us. So today we're doing a little bit of a lower caffeine day, and I wonder if I'm gonna regret it if these guys keep playing 45-minute bangers. Because if that's the case, I'm gonna actually make some coffee in the middle of the series. Circling run by right over here for Serral. He wants to figure out what he's playing against him. This time around, it's a less greedy opener here from Maru, but do you see what I see? Oh, say, can you see? It's a double armory build. Yeah, double armory. So, usually, that is indicative of a Terran player wanting to slow things down. You can play Battle Mech. Battle Mech is a very viable choice. Factory 2 and 3 coming up right now. 3rd Command Center done. Alternative plan, though, for Maru is to play a very siege tank heavy approach. So see, what can we do? Serral does not actually know about it yet, although he may smell it. Yeah. Seeing the reactor right over there on a factory 5.5 minutes in, seeing this many Hellions being produced, it is not a guarantee, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And he will be considering it. He already did make a Roach Warren. Now, this is a spicy take. Alright. Alright. Send him in. Is it gonna work? I think it's gonna work. Yeah. Ay. Now, minerals are usually not the main bottleneck for late game Terran mech. At this point, they're still important. Like, it's always the question, right? You end up losing 7 Hellbats here, you kill a hatchery. Hatchery is 275 minerals plus the cost of the drone. You get a bunch of Zerglings too, but I don't think it quite adds up in that particular instance. But obviously, there's a lot of potential lost mining too, which makes the math a little bit more difficult. Anyhow, Serral's going for a push. Serral does not want to play 45-minute banger after 45-minute banger if he cannot avoid it. So we're going into Nemetai Carapace, that's Overlord speed, and we're bringing in the ladies. The ladies are going on vacation on the Terran side of the map. Let's see what we can do. Maru, did he see it? Oh, maybe he did have a glimpse of it. He returns right now. These are speed Banshees. Serral wants to go for a move out right over here, man. He needs to pick up the queens yet again because there's too many tanks available. He wants to have the queens available to, like, tank a bit of damage and then probably allow the rest of the Zerg army to run through. That's exactly what we're doing right here. Brenda, Karen, Margaret, and Lily, man, they can tank a lot of damage. They have some transfusion energy available too. But the siege tanks are really powerful. The Banshees are nice as well. So many SCVs dying as we have a Zergling drop now inside of the main base too. Serral is suddenly swarming all over the map. He is done with these greedy build orders that Maru is bringing out in this particular series. Now, while I was a little concerned that this push was a bit too late, Serral just punished the greed brilliantly. Yeah, suddenly, Terran is stuck in their natural. You have 4 command centers, you have a nice mech army, you've got good upgrades, but there's only so much mining you can really do on 2 bases. How in the world is Maru gonna break out of this position? Now, Serral balls down one of his own overlords. That is something, I suppose, but he's droning heavily on the back of it. Now he's getting an infestation pit, a roach speed, and an extra evo chamber, and all the rest of it, but it's gonna be a while until Maru is gonna be able to break out of this position, I would imagine, but he needs to get a hurry on. He cannot really sit back. Now, the Firebats here, though, are having a grand old time. Siege tank will get surrounded. Lynx now flood into the main base yet again. It's an expensive set of units to lose here for the Zerg, but I think it's good enough. Yeah. Serral has lost more during all of this than the Terran did in total. But he got a little bit of creep. With 4 orbitals, though, it's pretty easy for Terran to get rid of all of that creep. Planetary coming up. No, not even a planetary. Maru, dude. Maru's so greedy. He is so greedy. He's like, nah, this is fine. I'll make an orbital comment here. Don't worry about it. Could make a planet. Nah, we don't have a planetary. Swarm hosts. Swarm host Nidus. Sure, bring it in, Serral. Bring it in. We're going from a Roach Queen Zergling push into now a Roach Swarm host. Okay. Okay. Bring it in. See what we can do. I haven't seen Swarm host actually in a while. This is like a once a month type of unit, even for somebody that watches a lot of StarCraft. They're an extremely niche use case, but when they are usually used at the highest level, they are very powerful. So Swarm hosts are really good in low eco scenarios. And obviously modern StarCraft is all about trying to build up your economy as quickly as possible. But when you've just knocked your opponent's economy down to the Stone Age, and you already have that lair tech ready to go, that's when Swarm hosts can be really potent. I actually really like the choice now of going orbital here, because orbitals can actually lift off, whereas planetaries can't. Alright, Serral goes through. There are speed Banshees. I would actually love to see more Banshees produced. Yeah. We're lifting everything off. He did make another... Oh, the Queens are coming out to try and defend, but there's no detection nearby. He did make another one of those Nidus networks on the right side of the map too. Factory is burning down, but I think we should be able to repair it. SCVs turn around. Okay, he does turn around. Serral puts down another network over here. In the meantime, the alternative choice is indeed spotted. That's a little bit predictable, I will say. Serral going for a left flank and then immediately a right flank. It is the most common way to play it with swarm host openers like this. Sometimes I wonder if maybe you should put it over here instead, like in the middle where it's a little bit less obvious. Serral, though, is going to try and rain some of those units onto the siege tanks now, and that's the goal. He's only activated half of it, and then the other half is going into the main. Curious choice. He wanted to finish off that factory from earlier. Maybe he's going to get the job done. Now the Nidus worm inside of the main base. Maru's crisis management here is incredible. But what about this expansion here? The entirety of the Terran army has now been set up to try and defend the Nidus play. Okay. Maru, luckily for him, does have those bases close by. He's going to be able to grab some of that army and actually move it over to the right side. The lock-on here with the Cyclones is good. Serral, in the meantime, though, going Greater Spire. Very quick flip-flop here from low-tech to high-tech. Not that long ago, we were doing a Roach Queen all-in. Then we transitioned to Swarm Hosts. And somehow, some way, about a minute and a half later, we've arrived at Broodlord tech. Maru is completely focused on trying to counter these units. And I will say, he is countering the troops that he's playing against right now absolutely perfectly. It is so difficult for Terran to defend against Nidus worms. You just have to be on top of everything. Maru doesn't see the network over here, but I don't think it really matters that much. I love the one Viking here just to get rid of those overlords and overseers to basically snipe the spotter units, making it more difficult to put down more and more networks. But Serral already has another overseer replacing the one that was just lost. We have Neural Parasite added into the mix as well. Here's the cloak getting activated on the Banshees. Nicely done, but there is an Overseer, of course, nearby. Serral transfuses the Nidus Worm. The Locust Wave will fly on over in this direction. Command Center lifts off, and Serral gets them out of there. Second half, though, of the Nidus is indeed being used on the left side. But the Fire Bats will take care of that really quickly, too. In the meantime, there's a ridiculous amount of creep being spread around as well, and Serral is making a far more sustainable army, albeit one that is still super focused here on full damage output. These guys are so freaking good, man. Like, if you've ever tried playing a game of StarCraft, I can't emphasize enough how, like, you know how freaking hard this is. It is so tough. For both the Zerg and the Terran here. I don't think any of these two players has it easier. Defensive play with Terran mech is so freaking hard. Serral breaks through the front, but he's not going to be able to get too much damage. And finally, though, the Swarmos do kill a siege tank or two. Nidus Worm in the upper right yet again. Thor production has started. They really have been stealing the show so far in this series. 2 additional factories start up here for Maru. He would love to get rid of all of the creep that he knows is right outside of the natural, right outside of the main base here on the left side of the map, but unable to really concentrate his army in that direction. Scan in the upper right will reveal that there is indeed another worm, but there's nothing set up there just yet. Look at the creep. Where is Serral finding the APM, man? I can't believe how much focus there is on creep spread still. It's so common for me to see... I mean, it's not common for me to see Swarm Host games, but whenever we do see Swarm Host games, usually it comes at the lack of creep spread. It comes with no late game follow-up. But Serral has Brute Lord tech ready to go, and he is once more raining the skies with those locusts, but I mean, he is ready for the next step in the master plan. I don't think we're going there, though, until the locusts will actually be useless, or until the Swarm Hosts die. But Serral is just throwing away units here, knowing very well that Terran's eco has gotta be mediocre at best. Little hit squad of, well, little hit squad. Big hit squad right over here of Banshees. Not only are they good for hunting those Nidus worms, but they're also pretty darn decent at trying to kill bases. Queens, though, all over it. Spore crawlers sprinkled around the map all over the place. Viper added into the mix, sure. How many hands do these guys have? Like, where do you find the hotkey for this guy? Maybe they accidentally have 4 hands. Yeah, maybe they have mutated. I don't know, man. Ridiculous performance here. Blinding Clouds will indeed be used. Apparently the Viper hotkey was not fat-fingered, which I feel like most of us would do, and that's 2 siege tanks going down, and a bunch of units dying because of it. Still, Maru, during all of this, did sneak out another expansion in the upper right. And while Banshees are good, they do not have air-to-air. A couple corrosive balls going around or across the river. It's not really a river. It's more like a crevice. There you go. Word of the day. Crevice. I think we have enough worms over here, Serral. Hey, Serral, I don't think we need another one, man. Gorge. Maybe Gorge would be a good one, too. Look at this mini game that these guys are playing. Like, what is happening right now? We have a tiny little mini game here between Queens, Infestors, and a bunch of Banshees, and then we're getting them fungled, and we're still splitting the Banshees. This Locust Wave is not going to be able to kill the CC. But it is going to open up the front door of the Terran player. Those Banshees, though, it looks like they've been recalled, man. I feel like those Banshees have been everywhere. Maru may have been speccing into some Protoss technology. Somehow these guys always seem to pop out right where they need to be. Dude, this is such a good series. I can't believe it. Ridiculous. Like, this is what you have when you... This is like a battle between the gods, you know? We have the god of Terran and the god of Zerg facing off against one another. What do you do? Who wins? I can't tell. I have no idea. Like, this is PiG Serral going up against PiG Maru. These guys have not really performed better than in this kind of matchup. It's ridiculous. It's pushing them both to the absolute limit. Locust Wave coming in around the side. Fungal Growth does connect, and that's going to allow those Locusts to land, but they land on top of the Hellbats. Nice positioning right there by Maru. He's got a bunch of Medifex in the mix, too, to really roast those Locusts really quickly. And keep in mind, Serral has all of the tech, but he's got so much supply dedicated right now to those Swarm Hosts, and the Swarm Hosts are mostly useless in between the Locust Waves. Nice snipes as well there by Maru, who's now trying to strike while the iron is hot. He knows that Zerg has money, but that there's really no easy way for Zerg to spend it. Those Locusts, man, the Swarm Hosts, they may very well kill Serral here in the end. He needs to get rid of them to replace them with more useful supply, but right now he cannot spend the bank. Maru's going to try and push deep onto creep. That is always a dangerous call to make. So many drones are dying, though. Here comes the little Zerg wave, and it looks like the Locusts are once more available, but it looks pretty pathetic compared to the amount of units available for Maru. Maru gets the perfect fight off. It's odd for Zerg to have this much money and then to GG out, but Serral is not able to stop the advancement of that Terran army because he had like 50 supply caught up in Swarm Hosts. Absolute cinema so far. Game number 3. We find ourselves on the Old Republic. And you know what? I had an issue with my audio interface a couple days ago. Well, it wasn't really an issue. I decided to update it. And for some reason, my audio interface took that as a moment to fully reset back to the default settings. Man, he gets another circling kill. Or another drone kill, rather. That's crazy. Just like in game number 2. It's slippery. He's not going to be able to snipe it. Alright, anyways, I'm just thinking, if we go to the Celestial Enclave, I do not have my reverb button. I tried enabling it before I start recording, but the problem with my audio interface is that Okay, here's the full story of the audio interface. The audio interface that I have is really good. It's considered to be, like, the best that you can basically purchase. However, and this is the big caveat, I am not an audio engineer. I can work the thing, but I'm not an expert. Anyways, because I updated the firmware, it decided to basically go back to full factory defaults, and I've spent like 3 hours trying to set the thing up again. Absolutely losing my mind as well, because at some point I somehow, some way had my desktop audio. So like, for example, the in-game audio mixed into my microphone audio, and I couldn't figure out how to split the two things. Anyhow, I couldn't find my reverb button, okay? I don't know, I need to figure out how to add reverb back onto the... But if we go to the Celestial Enclave, don't be disappointed, okay? Yeah, don't be disappointed if I, Here's how the StarCraft community does it, by the way. Up a tree. Sal. He's a well-known StarCraft 2 streamer and content creator. He basically advises the entire StarCraft community that asks on hardware choices. So, if you want to buy a new camera for, I don't know, your live stream, or a microphone, or a new computer, or whatever, everybody and their dog, well, every StarCraft content creator, actually, just asks Sal, like, hey, Sal, what do you do? What do you do in 2026? What do you have to get right now? So, if Sal tells you to get the Rodecaster Pro 2, you know, you get the Rodecaster Pro 2. That's the general build order, how the StarCraft content creators do it. The only problem is that he knows how to work this device and I don't. And I've watched a bunch of videos on it because I was forced into it. But now my, like, I have a button that says reverb. I enabled it. Wait! Whoa! But it didn't work the other day. Oh! I'm a professional, baby! Let's go! I figured it out, apparently. I turned it off this morning, and then I turned it back on again. Huh. Maybe I am an engineer. Alright, anyways, we've got a quick lair rat over here on the Old Republic. Dude, I'm hoping we're going to the Celestial Enclave right now. That is more reverb than I've ever had. I think so, anyways. We're playing Terran mech again. There's no freaking way, man. Wait a second, like, all jokes aside, look. We're going back into speed benchies here, and we're once more rushing up to Terran mech. Double armory in the back. Oh. So wait, has Maru decided that Terran bio is just bad? Is that what we've decided? Like, maybe we have all these really nice Marines and Marauders, right? And some people consider them broken units and all the rest of it, but the #1 Terran may have decided that those units are all terrible and we should never play them ever again. Serral's going double Baneling Nest, clearly feeling the heat in this particular game. Now, the one advantage of double Baneling Nest is that the centrifugal hooks upgrade does research twice as fast if you have... No, I'm lying to you. Sorry. No, there's 0 advantage to having 2 Baneling Nests. But some of you probably believed me when I said it like that, so got that going for me. It's going to be Mutiling Bane yet again. Mutiling Bane, but with slower upgrades compared to game #1. Yeah, we're going centrifugal hooks, but we are not going to go into any Evo chamber upgrades just yet. Dude, I can't believe the reverb button actually works. That's crazy. Like, I spent too much time, man. Also, I am never upgrading the firmware of my audio interface ever again, okay? Unless I run into a really specific issue, then I may have to, but I'm never clicking those buttons ever again. Not doing it. Not doing it! Alright, we have 2 factories building right now inside of the main base for Maru, bringing the grand total up to 5. Usually you go up to a maximum of 8. A little bit later on in the game. Serral's trying to save up some gas right here. Yeah. Forced to spend some of his minerals now, but he's trying to make as many Mutalisks here as possible. Here we go to speed banshees again, man. Dude, so this series, right, between the absolute very best in StarCraft 2, we see Maru really focusing his army around 2 units that are usually not built. Like, we see 1, maybe 2 banshees in a good game of StarCraft. We see a couple of Thors, if provoked. Say your opponent is going Mutas, sure, you can build a Thor or 2. But Maru is consistently building both of those units, even when it seems like it's not necessary. It's very interesting, because originally we had this unit composition called Battle Mech, right? With Cyclones and Hellions, and then Terran players started mixing in speed banshees as well from time to time. Then they ended up nerfing Cyclones, and Battle Mech just kind of fell off, and we don't really see it much anymore. But now apparently we have Battle Mech, or at least a version of it, with a heavy emphasis on banshees instead. It's kind of incredible, I really like it. Now we go into a Raven 2. I would imagine mostly for the anti-armor missile? Infestation Pit in the meantime on the other side of the map. Serral going Roach Warren as well. Double upgrading here eventually, but super late. Right, I mean, Terran's already halfway through 2-2. Serral 8.5 minutes in, starts up 1-1. We are going to go for some really big Baneling roll-bys, though, it seems. Yeah, Banshees are actually such a cool unit. What I really like about it, though, is that, like, the unit is mostly unchanged for, like, a decade. The speed upgrade has been made a little bit cheaper, I guess, and the research time and all the rest of it, but the unit itself is mostly unchanged, at least the way that it's being played here. The upgrade duration and the cost of the upgrade is mostly irrelevant with this kind of unit control, so very cool. Right, it's one of my favorite things, honestly, about StarCraft. Like, even if you don't change anything, like, even if you have the players go on the same maps and the same balance patch and all the rest of it, they will come up with new ways to play the game. It's kind of awesome. Like, you see the same thing in chess, right? They've been playing the same map and the same balance patch of chess for a really long time. Like, some people are begging the devs to make a couple of changes. But the pro gamers will still, figure it out. They will still go for new build orders, new strats. Or however they call those sorts of things in chess, who knows. Neural Parasite coming up again here for Serral. Hive is about 3/4 of the way done. Command center here looking very exposed. Yeah. Ooh, no cancel. So that's 400 minerals. Well, actually, not all of it down the drain, but it is going to be a costly loss right there for Maru. Yeah, last time I heard, there were some top-of-the-line chess players that were actually calling for a castling nerf. Apparently, castling is considered to be kind of a overpowered play. And I don't know if they wanted to, like, reduce the strength of it or get rid of it altogether. It would be interesting. A version of chess where you can't at all. I don't know. I think the devs are fully AFK, though. Ooh, hoo, hoo, some nice Widowmine hits right over here. Cyclones trying to see if they can get some lock-ons here on their way home. Yep, that's more Mutas down the drain. I love the scan, really good. Poof. Dude, Maru is a gamer. Like, he is playing like an absolute gamer. I'm gonna give him the title of gamer, okay? I don't know if I have that level of power, but I'm gonna bestow upon him the title of gamer. Ridiculous. He's actually murdering Serral here. And Serral is playing some of the best StarCraft I've ever seen him play. God, that's not good, man. Serral throwing away Banelings like that, I think that's a moment of frustration, honestly. Not something we see very often. But rolling Banelings into a Thor is never a good choice. So many drones dying. Serral's actually just trying desperately to stay alive. That's the main goal here. But if you stay alive and you fall behind an economy in the process, and you don't have the correct upgrades and all the rest of it, are you even alive? Look at the Banshees. Look at the Cloaky Banshees going in. Brenda gets a transfusion off, and she will save the hatchery with it for now. But that was costly. In the meantime, we have 2 additional starports built. Alright. We have a, just like the double baneling nest from earlier, we have a double fusion core. Why are we making 2 fusion cores, man? That structure is really expensive. Oh, we're going tech labs? We're going Battlecruisers? Oh, Maru's playing for the fans. Maru, I've already called you a gamer. This is the mightiest title of them all. He wants to emphasize how much of a gamer he is, I think, by going Battlecruisers. Look at the dancing here, by the way. Look at him dropping those metafics. Oy, oy, oy. I'm starting to actually get goosebumps here. God, I'm such a nerd. My mom would be disappointed if she knew. All right. Yeah, we're going +1 air. I think we're making a Battlecruiser transition. Okay, now Battlecruisers are not commonly made in this matchup because A, they're very expensive, and A, they're also not very good. It's 2 times A. I don't generally think it's the correct choice to make, but it is cool. I will say they look nice. I wonder though if that's the way to also... There we go! Oh my god, really? We're Battlecruisering Serral. Let's go. Serral's making 10 overlords. Yeah, Serral's actually losing his mind here. He just made 10 overlords by accident, and he also made a whole lot of micro errors. I think Serral may be having a weird moment where he is feeling emotions. I know. And you know what? Maybe it's not a cost-effective trade. Maybe Battlecruisers are not a really good idea as far as like the actual game itself goes. But if Serral is already half tilting, and you then end up beating him with one of the absolute worst units for absolute top-level StarCraft, maybe that will just rub a little bit more salt in the wound, you know? Like, maybe you can tilt him just a little bit more. Okay, well, Serral's gaming again, though. We are getting some neural parasites here. The Thors are attacking one another. It's a beautiful thing. Firebat trying its absolute best, but it looks like the Cyclones... Oh, nope. Transfusions yet again. Serral keeps the pace up. Okay. Will Maru let this game slip out of his hands because he decided to go Battlecruisers? That's my question right now. Serral does not know at this point, and the transition is so weird that maybe he's never going to be prepared for it. Like, very similar to your average Gold League Terran versus Zerg, if suddenly a half dozen Battlecruisers show up in your main base and you do not have an answer, you probably are dead. Maru, though, did just lose a whole lot. He lost his most expensive army, and he also ended up losing a base now in the upper left. Serral's probably wondering, like, hey, how is this game okay? Oh, wait a second. Lag, 1, 2, 3. Go. All right, excellent. He may be wondering, like, hey, where's your money at? And now he will see, suddenly, the Raiders are here. Yeah, the problem is indeed the neural parasite. So that was a 1-2 punch. We get some onto the queens, and then the hatchery over here will die as well. But if Serral takes control of the Battlecruisers, he can technically jump them himself as well, and that will put that ability on cooldown. Maru is... I honestly wonder if he's throwing it. As much as I like Battlecruisers as a science fiction nerd, I think they're actually just not a good choice here. Serral already has Infestors out, and Maru may be gaming a little bit too hard for his own good. Like, if you game really hard, are you even still a gamer? That's the question I'm wondering here. Like, if you game so hard that you end up losing the game, are you still gaming? Yes or no? This will be the philosophy of my my channel moving forward. If this whole content creation thing doesn't work out, we'll do some StarCraft philosophy instead. I think it's the right thing to do. Many Overlords are dying, though, and Serral did obviously make a gigantic surplus not that long ago. Technical jump is available yet again on these BCs. Oh, Corruptors going in. You gotta be so careful, though. Oh, jump. Oh, my lord, you jumped it late. Serral also thought he had it. But again, that maybe that over-eagerness that we've been seeing thus far. Banshee also moves through. New command center on the right. Maru actually just going mass Battlecruisers. I can't believe it. Serral now, because of it, wants to go second Spire. So he can double upgrade those flying units of his. Because you really kind of need it. Those are well-upgraded Battlecruisers already. They're going to finish up the +2 ship weapons as well. Makes them significantly more powerful. Every single one of those little missiles of the Battlecruisers will now get +1 additional damage, which is kind of nuts. Oh, Serral's going to lose some Infestors here. Yeah. Oh, man. The Infestors are like his only way out of this game. Like, he needs neural parasites, I think. Or fungal growths. I think Serral's actually kind of tilting here. I don't want to do the thing where I read into the game a little bit too much. But I think Serral is kind of tilting just a smidge. Plus the air weapons, though, is researching now. For the man from Finland. This Battlecruiser fleet, man. Oh, I love it. Man, this makes me want to go onto the ladder and play a little bit of Terran myself. Tearing up the night. I want to mech it happen. GG. Wow, Serral rips off the Band-Aid. We're not even going to see the armies clash. Yeah, I think this confirms it. I was wondering if Serral was slowly losing his mind this game. I think this GG timing over here is a clear case of him actually having a bit of a rager. GG. Okay, I think it's time to update your vocabulary of Finnish swear words. We gotta figure out what they are. Because I think Serral has just about said all of them. So far, Maru has won 3 maps back to back to back, and he has done so in spectacular fashion each time. Game 1 was ridiculously greedy, but an absolute masterclass on how to play macro Terran in the late game. Beautiful, honestly beautiful. Game number 2, of course, was that Swarm Host game, where he just shoved the army straight across the map when he saw an opportunity, and he just managed it so well. The defensive capabilities against the Nidus Worm shenanigans and the Queen drops and all the rest of it, absolute beauty. And then game number 3, Maru opens straight mech and transitions into mass Battlecruiser. It is so far off the beaten path and the way that we normally see Serral lose in this matchup that I'm not even entirely sure what Maru is now going to be doing next. Let's think about it, right? Like, let's think about the series that Serral has lost against Terran over the last bunch of years. There's a bunch of really high-profile matches, specifically against Klim. But this is not how Klim plays Terran versus Zerg at all. Klim is very fast-paced. He's very momentum-heavy. He plays normal, quote-unquote, normal build orders. A little bit of greed from time to time, but surely no Battlecruisers. Pretty much never mech. Serral will now have to win 4 maps in a row. And I am going to say the caster thing. I'm going to do it. Nobody can stop me. But if anybody could do it, it would be him. Because it's true. I do think that he can certainly get the job done. But you do have to go back to the drawing board, right? Like, you do have to be able to actually relax for a moment and once more find, your inner calm, I suppose. I hope that in between the games here, and that's one of the downsides of casting from replays, I suppose. But I hope that he had a little bit of a moment to maybe reset himself. Like maybe mentally go into the sauna for a little bit, right? You can't actually go into the sauna when you're in the middle of a StarCraft series, but that is a Finnish stereotype that will certainly be true in this particular instance. Just imagine yourself going into one of the many Finnish forests. Just think you're over there. Look at the little squirrel. Maybe you see a fox, right? And then you go back into game number 4. Because if you go into a game like this, half raging, you're going to be, you're going to be in for a very, very nasty surprise. Because Maru is a bit of a beast. Banshee once more, trying to get a bit of work done. Gets 4 worker kills, by the way. There was 1 SCV on the other side. Maru just rubbing a little bit of salt in the wound yet again. I do think that this is a tough map, by the way, for Terran versus Zerg. In general, at least, like in the long macro games I've seen, it's the outer expansions that Zerg seems to really struggle with. And there's some really lovely attack paths as well to this 4th base right here of Serral. Like if you get some siege tanks stuck in that location over there, there's some really nice areas to the nice surface area. And it is something to keep in mind. Now, this is not a great map for Terran mech. So, unsurprisingly, we see Maru playing bio. Although, maybe, yeah, we should be surprised, because he opened up like this in the first game, but very rapidly make the transition regardless to mech. Then she tries to go in. Already had a bunch of kills earlier, though. Perfect timing on the armory to go straight 2-2. Yeah, Maru has such a range in his playstyle. It's so nice. Okay, I've been fanboying a lot, but seriously. He's been doing this thing consistently, by the way. I find it very interesting. Like, when he plays Terran bio, for the longest time, we usually see Terrans going 2nd factory and then a 4th command center. But Maru lately has been going 4th command center and then 2nd factory. It's a small difference, but I wonder where it comes from. Just a little greedier, I guess, on the 4th CC. Alternative choice for Terran is to go for an 8 Rex. So if you want to play some quicker games, you can stick around on triple command center and spend the extra 450 minerals that you normally spend on the CC, give or take. You can spend that on 3 additional barracks and go for a big all-in. Now, Serral is very good against that particular build. It's a common strategy on the European ladder in particular, and it's just not something he usually loses against. So I'm not surprised to not see Maru go for it, but... I'm not surprised to not see Maru. Yeah. Yeah. You know what's really funny, though? As I mentioned, these guys ended up playing the grand finals of the same tournament, too. This absolute banger of a series. It ended up not mattering, actually, for the entirety of the bracket, because these guys met again in the grand finals. Which, when this particular series was played, was irrelevant. But there is a little bit of irony here. 2 absolute titans of StarCraft going at it. For what turned out to be a mostly meaningless series, then. Planetary Fortress coming up here from Maru at the 12 o'clock position. And we're going into the good old drilling claws. Alright, we'll be making the transition towards some Widow memes here. Tutu, about 3/4 of the way done here. Serral apparently has indeed found his calms again, right? Because he's not going for any weird attacks here. Nor am I really missing any, big decisions here from him. I think across the board, all of this makes sense. He's a big fan of going Hive into a couple of Vipers, then Adrenal Glands. We should see the Ultra Cavern here next. Right over here. Right here. Right here. It's going to come down right over here. We have 5 Dropper Lords coming up first, but I think we're going to see an Ultra Cavern right over here. Come on, Serral. Come on, one time. Make me look good. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera. Where's those Dropper Lords? We have 5 of them. Oh, they're right over here. Okay. Big surround over on the right side. Maru actually loses a big clump of Marines. So goes Burrow. So we can burrow your feelings. Not think about them. Ooh. Ooh. My god. Dangerous moves here, but really good shove forward here by Serral in the end. Now suddenly the 5 Dropper Lords are going to be glorious too, because Maru is going to be backed up. Siege tank on the other side of this ramp has a grand old time. Actually, this base does need to die. Alright, Banelings do actually finish the job. Was a little risky. The Dropper Lords have made their way towards the bottom right. Still no Ultra Cavern. That's going to come down right here. It's going to be, like, right here, I think. Although maybe Serral doesn't want to build it. He takes the base on the left side first. He's actually just going full Ling Bane, it seems. Nice splitties there in the end, but still a little sketchy. Maru now breaks through. Obviously, with mech, it takes a while to rebuild, but Terran bio can be, yeah, can be restarted up really rapidly. You love to see, man, how fast Maru actually is ready to change course if that's what it takes. Normally, this is when Terran actually sits back for a while. You just lose a base, you try your absolute best. Now, there's a pesky changeling preventing that 5th command center from landing. But Maru is not afraid to once more step up. What about the Zergling Chaos, though? Ooh, Maru sees the Dropper Lords. At the very least, is going to give him a few seconds of heads up. Where did the... Oh! He put it in the... Let's go. All right. Anyways, Zergling drop in the main base. Maru right now is supply blocked because he is pretty much, well, fully maxed out. And even though he did have vision there of the Dropper Lords for just a moment, he did not quite prepare for it. Still, yeah. This is annoying because it's going to draw his army all the way back. I mean, the parts that don't apparently get cleaned up. Nice snatches as well, though, by those medevacs. Maru saving the majority of the bulk there, but... yeah, I mean, you lose 11 SCV, a couple units. It looks scarier than it really is for Terran. Gotta be careful you don't lose any tanks. Oh, yeah, no, we just pick them all up. Medevac control has been very good so far in this series. Hatchery on the left side does get spotted. That's a big tell for Maru. Finally getting that 5th base up and running right now, but it's taken a while. Zergling drop once more going through. Hatchery in the middle is not going to happen. Maru knowing about that base on the left side, though, is big, because it's now going to allow him a little bit of intel, right? Like, where in the world is Zerg, well, buying all of these units from? Like, how is he spending his money on all of this stuff? It's because there's an extra base. Again, though, the Terran army gets drawn back into the main. And whilst, indeed, that army is sitting out on the map, you gotta be careful you don't get surrounded, just like those siege tanks just were. Hugging against the factory was not good enough. Now, Serral's gonna do some burrowing too, but Maru is all over it. Yeah, and as the dust settles, I really don't hate this here for Maru. Even though he's been losing a lot of his units, it's just been so freaking expensive for Zerg to actually do this. Serral has done a good enough job cleaning up most of the map, I guess, on his side at least, but his creep spread is looking a little bit lackluster. The amount of money he's getting in is pretty good, but it's not like Maru is broke. He got that base up on the 9 o'clock position, but that's always one that is a little risky. I think that, yeah, Maru's got his eyes set on that particular base next, and there's no creep out front to really keep this one going. Maru also creating a distraction over here, though, and he snaps the Nexus. Or the Nexus, the hatchery here in the end. The Zerg Nexus will keep the expensive units alive as the medevacs boost out, and now his eyes are going to be set on this expansion right over here on the left. Serral already anticipating the play, put a bunch of Ultras, Zerglings, and Banelings right over here, but did he actually commit enough army? There's a lot of Zerg running in this direction right now, though, and that's the advantage of creep. Yep, maybe this is actually Maru now overextending. He thought he had his opponent in a really good position, but ultimately Serral was a little too fast. The creep a little bit too powerful. Maru gets pushed away, and the expansion will stay alive. One over here at the bottom is going to have to be remade. New command center now setting up. Planetary Fortress will be grown on top of it, but the Zerg army now has got this Terran army on the ropes, and that means apparently that the Planetary will be blown up in just a matter of seconds. A couple of Zerglings will be left behind to finish the job. They get sacrificed. 24 confirmed kills on that bad boy. But it means now that Maru lost another command center, but no worries. He's going to make some more. Zergling drop again on the right side. Feel like it's about time for another move. Instead, Serral decides to go for a cheeky little dropper lore, or a cheeky little hatchery right over there. We're now also taking a page, though, out of Rogue's book. Nidus Worm, yet again, together with a whole lot of Overseers. What about the army over here down at the front? Nice splitty right there against that parasitic bomb, but this is still costly. We don't mind over here somehow making it out, somehow burrowing, somehow firing. Okay. Hatchery on the right side, though, did get destroyed. Maru picking up the pace there as well with a triple medevac drop. Nine SCVs have died. So much damage being done, man. Yeah, I'm starting to think that these guys are pretty good at the game. It's just the vibe I'm getting, you know? I'm starting to think, did it just split off that medevac before it got parabombed? Hold up, can I just see that again? Did he just split off that one medevac before the parasitic bomb even started? Look! absolute gamer. What? The Parabomb wasn't even onto the medevac yet. Serral's so predictable. Maru just looked into the future and predicted which of these medevacs were gonna get Parabombed. That's kind of crazy. He pre-split it. He's like, yo, you should pick this one. Pick this one. Pick this one, Serral. This is the best one. I promise you, this is the one you want to Parabomb. Kind of crazy. He must have looked at the, the body language, I suppose, is the best way to put it, of the Viper. The Vipers do actually get this motion when they are zeroing in on a target to parasitic bomb, because you can't start it up from a distance. You can actually just queue it up, and then it will, cast it whenever it gets within range of the target you've chosen, but... Alright, here we go. Serral decides to push through the middle. This seems kind of risky to me, but there might be enough Zerg. Bunch of Lings and Ultras as well, coming in around the side. Microbial Shroud coming up. The Marauder count is big, though. One Ultra decides to go into the mineral line, but indeed, this is not quite enough Zerg to be able to break through it all. Serral remakes 110 Lings, and this follow-up wave is going to be dangerous. The reason we're making Zerglings is because they come out real fast, and I think we're gonna try and just get the job done. Do we go through again? I think we gotta go. Don't really want to give the Terran too much time to remix. Maru, though, immediately thinking ahead as well, decides to go for a little shove himself. Zerg had to try so hard to kill and snipe one base over here in the middle. Look at how much they need to do in order to mimic a fraction of this power. Okay, I got the quote all wrong. I don't know what the exact quote is. I don't even know what anime that is from. Look at what they need to do to mimic a fraction of our power. Is that it? Anyways, Serral trying so hard to kill the base over here in the middle. Maru just walked on over to the right and killed an expansion. Is it even an anime? I don't know. This planetary is dead. It just doesn't know it yet. Yeah, there you go. It's expensive though for Serral. Huge amount of Zerg again moving in through the front lines as well. Serral trying to break through. Ghost kind of stuck over there in the corner. So many SCVs die though, and that I think is ultimately going to justify a lot of it. The problem here for Maru is that he has no gas. Yeah, he's got 1,500 minerals, which is not bad. He's got a whole lot of command centers, but not as many as he would like. 7 orbitals, oddly enough, is not good in this kind of setup. Serral's been mining off of 91 drones for a long time now, and the advantage in the income is only going to get bigger. With that many workers dying, Maru's going to have to either rebuild them or just sort of commit to a lower eco army, or a lower eco situation here, but it's all a little risky. Cheeky little Zergling inside of the main base. Left behind as a spotter unit for the Nidus Worm. Speaking of which, we do now have one over here on the right side. Mostly set up apparently as a way to get those drones to safety in case Terran decides to be aggressive again over there. I always like that play. We never really see it from other Zergs. But Serral always has a safety Nidus Worm for the drones if he takes any of the risky bases out on the perimeter, which is kind of cool. I wouldn't be surprised to see one as well pop down over here on the left in a moment. It's kind of expensive though, I guess. Anyways, bunch of Widow Mines again do detonate, but they don't get the great connection that they're hoping for. The Banelings at the very least are still alive. My god, Serral goes up the ramp. This seems kind of risky. Why are we going that deep up the ramp with so many Banes? Banelings are expensive units. Fungal growth, not entirely missed. Oh, Infestor with literally 1 HP is going to be able to stay alive. Likewise, his orbital command lands to try and counter the Corruptors. Caustic Spray is going to be used over here, though, and the Planetary is going to be blown to pieces. Still, a lot of very expensive losses there for the Zerg yet again, but he's got so much money. Yeah, and where is he getting all this money from? Well, the mostly uninterrupted mining now for the last few minutes. Maru was doing a really good job denying those outer expansions for the first half or so of this game. But lately, I guess he's been so preoccupied. Lately, he's just sort of let the Zerg player have those expansions. Even just a single medevac drop really could slow the Zerg player down a ton, but now the siege tank is joining in as well in the SCV massacre. So many Zerglings are nibbling away at whatever they can eat. Fight over here on the right side. Serral decides to commit to defending the base this time around. Little Zergling run by again in the middle. Planetaries are no longer a thing. So instead we have to commit here to an orbital command. Serral burrows as well. Yeah, and this now is looking pretty helpless for Terran. Serral has become the swarm himself. But what do you do to stop it? He seems to be a little bit too fast. And his income is just a little bit too good. Like, it's not like Maru's income is absolutely atrocious, but he's almost being doubled. Right? So how do you stop this? Serral's gonna be able to just never close the floodgates if he doesn't want to. He can choose to stop going for this kind of wave of attack, right? He can make the switch on over to, like, Brute Lord Infestor again. But I think he only does that whenever there's a late game coming up where money is gonna be tight. And money is not gonna be tight here. Instead, what we do is we rinse and we repeat. We throw more money at the problem. And that is how you can solve a lot of problems in real life too, man. Just throw more money at it. More money and a positive attitude. That's like 99% of problems solved. Yeah. It seems to be true in IRL. Seems to be true as well in the video game. Maru's gonna try and deny one of those bases. He needs it. Like, he needs another base. Serral's gonna donate a couple of sport crawlers, which is nice of him, but it is gonna distract the Terran army for a little bit. Siege tanks on siege, and this may just be the nail in the coffin. Maru, though, is a fighter. He will not tap out willy-nilly. And even though this is a dire game for him, he is actually really making the best out of really, really bad scenarios. But yeah, the worker count is just so bad for him right now. I don't really see how Maru is going to be able to take his half of the map. Because by the time he can even make an attempt at this base over here on the left or on the right, I feel like they're already going to be mined out. And once they're mined out, they're gone. The resource count is finite. I guess there is a chance for Serral to have extreme inefficiency. If we look at the resources lost, I mean, it is pretty rough for the Zerg, but it's not atrocious. 12,000 minerals in a weird way. Honestly acceptable in a game like this. Maru's stuck at 150 supply now. Times are dire. He needs to go do something. You know what he can do? Mass Battlecruiser is a bad idea. Sadly for him, you cannot carry money from one game in the series to the next. I guess Serral is not super rich, though. It's kind of funky. We've had a Zerg player here that's been mining with practically like 90 workers or so for the last 15 minutes. But Serral actually doesn't have a bank. This is like looking at the finances of those weird startup companies, you know, where somehow they seem to have like 500 million active users, but they're still not making any money. And you wonder how any of that ever makes sense. Serral has somehow, some way got a ridiculous amount of income, but no money. And he hasn't even paid taxes yet on these minerals either. Like, once the Kuprulu sector comes knocking... Oh, well. Trying to break open the high ground here, but Maru actually does have a very formidable force. Wait a second, Serral is maxed out again, but Maru is approaching a similar state. And he is going to try and make a push for this base on the left. Now, keep in mind, Serral took this expansion very early, a long time ago. So it's mined out. For the most part. If Maru takes it now, he's just going to get the scraps. He will maybe have a couple, yeah, like maybe 1,000 minerals or so tops to still potentially mine out that base with. Oh, we have one infestor over here on the right. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be, never mind. Siege tank on the high ground, getting its 29th kill. Don't worry about it. That could have been the end of the game. But this guy, right over here. Absolute legend. Circling run by once more. The mules have just run out. SCVs are once more going to get destroyed. 52 confirmed kills on that siege tank over here on the right side, but I think about half of those kills were SCVs. So we have one absolute legend of a siege tank, and then one absolute prick. This is the guy who's actually getting the job done, okay? This is the guy that thinks he's getting the job done. Unlucky. Yeah, so Maru needs to effectively kill this base on the right and then mine it. Like, that's his only way out of this game. I think he's now figured out the same thing. He's given up on the expansion on the left. When he first made a move for it, he probably didn't quite realize how much mining had already been done there. So, strategically speaking, he needs to take this base and then mine it out. That means that Serral, though, can take a fight on creep, which is big. He's got a lot of low HP Ultralisks. I would not mind seeing a couple transfuses going down. Okay, this is good. Maru might be able to snipe the hatch at this rate. Yep, that hatchery is gone. Ooh, Serral fat fingering everything. Either that or we did a little bit of a Zerg mating ritual. Who knows? I think what he tried to do is burrow the Zerglings here on the other side of the map. Serral making mistakes, guys. I mean, they're small mistakes. But in case you were wondering whether or not he was human, I think he might be. What do you call it when a god is pretending to be human? Just to, you know, hang with the boys. Just so Zerg doesn't get nerfed more. What is the... He's going Greater Spire right now, by the way. Huh. So we do want to maybe make a switch on over towards Broodlord Infestor. Ultimately, Maru is going to be able to get the job done with a hit squad of 5 Marauders on the left side. Couple of minerals still available there, but not a whole lot. You can see here that Serral is respecting it. He does not really want to take any risks, but he now has lost the base on the right side as well as the left side. And I think Maru is going to try and make a push for the base on the right. It's really the only thing that makes sense. The hero siege tank dies. The prick siege tank will also die. Terran players rejoice. Reinforcing Terran troops have made their way over here. Fungal growth to try and kill some of these units off. I guess against this many Widow Mines, it makes sense to make a switch on over to Brutes. It just makes cleaning all of it up so much easier. Serral only makes a few. He's got 7 of them now in total. But it's a unit that Maru just cannot afford countering. Yeah. Maru's making a couple of siege tanks, but every single one of these siege tanks, Vikings rather, is expensive. That's his piggy bank gone. You know what he bought with your piggy bank? 2 Vikings. Congratulations. Maru's children won't be able to go to college, but it's, you know, at least he got 2 Vikings. He's not trying to use the immobility of the Broodlords against them, but this is obviously going to allow Serral to take this base on the right yet again. Yeah, and the problem here for Maru is that, yeah, he's got a good army, but it really feels very desperate. He's got 2 ghosts or so, that's it. Handful of Vikings. Actually, he's got 10 ghosts. Where are they all? Where are all the ghosts? Are they all here? Ah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, he needs to... Okay, so we need a sequence of events here that goes incredible for Terran for this game to work out for him. First off, a couple snipes like that are a good start. But really, he needs to EMP all of the spellcasters for the Zerg. And then basically get Cloak done, make sure there's no Overseers nearby, and then snipe everything that he can hit. And I think he needs to do that multiple times for this game to go his way. It's just such a low-tier Terran army versus the absolute ultimate tech here for the Zerg. Now, here's your piggy bank. There's the college fund right over there. Getting killed. A little bit unlucky. Maru knows, though. He needs to be so careful. This choke point is horrible for Zerg, but that's where the Broodlords are quite nice. He is going to be able to kill this hatchery yet again. Maru honestly holding himself so well with an army that is... I don't think it's really supposed to hold it like this. Serral's getting a little bit aggressive now as well with the positioning of the Infestors. Baiting out the EMP maybe, though. There's a lot of Ultraling Bane waiting off to the side. Serral retakes the base, transfuses the Brute Lords yet again. Okay, Maru decides to scan on the left side and drops one mule. Excellent. 30 minerals a trip, baby. It's gonna be able to afford a couple more Marines that way. Pretty sick. Pushes up to the high ground yet again. This is a battle for these final minerals right over here. Fungal growths, though, are so dangerous. And the Brute Lords here, I really quite like them. Yeah, they're just making it so difficult for Terran to engage. He's making one Thor. One Thor. And that's really about it. He gets another snipey, though. And that's another Brute Lord down the drain. To be fair, it's really difficult for Terran to counter Brute Lords. Like, you need a hotkey on the Ghost to counter the Brute Lords. You need a hotkey for the Ghost to counter the Infestors. You need a hotkey on the Ghost to counter the Queens. You need a hotkey for the Ghost to counter the Vipers. You need to counter, like, a hotkey on the Ghost as well, then, to counter the Ultralisks. Like, there's a... Yeah, no, but, like, 8 control groups just for your Ghost alone. Kinda nuts. Yeah, Maru honestly decides to take the fight here in the end. But I just don't see how this is a proper outcome for him. His entire force ends up getting fungled, it seems. Although, again, he micros really remarkably well there. Somehow avoiding the money fungal every single time. Serral's mining the base, though. The Marauders! Okay, get the job done. We are now at a near 60 supply advantage for Zerg. And I don't see how Maru... Like, he's going around the side. Okay, this is one way, I guess. If Maru can go around the side, EMP all of the Infestors. There you go. Decent EMP, but I mean, he's gonna lose the Ghost because of it. He's setting up little traps as well in the tall grass here just to try and get lucky. I mean, props to Maru here for fighting until the bitter end. But I just don't see an outcome where this is going to be beneficial for the Terran, and neither can Serral. Serral decides to crash through it all. Backs up again, though. Yeah. GG. Okay. Next up. Ruby Rock. Still no Celestial Enclave, by the way, and if it's up to Maru, we're not gonna need it. It looks like we are ready to put it all on the line with a cheeky little barracks proxy. Second SCV is going to be joining the first, as indeed a barracks is building now over on the left side of the map. This is close to where the Zerg player lives. Maru hates neighbors. Yeah. He probably lives in Seoul in Korea, so I feel like if you hate neighbors, maybe living in Finland is a better, is a better spot to be. Seoul, one of the most densely populated cities on the planet. Pretty sure you could get lost in Finland for many, many months and potentially disappear forever if you walk off into the forest. That is one thing you can't really do in the Netherlands, man. We have some woods and forests and all the rest of it too, but honestly, if you walk in any direction for about 20 minutes, you'll probably find another person. If you're ever lost in the Netherlands, just walk in any direction. You'll find somebody. Don't worry, man. There's no bears. There's no, like, you don't have to worry about any of that sort of thing. Probably an issue, though, in Finland if you're not careful. Hey, Serral opening up with a pool first. It's a bit of a disaster here for Maru. Yeah, the Zerglings are already out, and that means we're going to be hunting down Jimmy. We have one cheeky bunker. Bunker, though, is not going to go up. I mean, still, this is not even that atrocious here for Maru as I thought it was going to be. Do we still have to pull a bunch of drones just to get the job done, or is Zerglings alone enough? Serral did start harvesting a little bit of Vespene. Maru actually making this remarkably hard, yeah. A couple of boys do get pulled. Second SCV is gonna die. Third SCV is gonna die, and that'll be the end of the bunker. Now the Spinecrawler is coming down. Okay. Well managed here by Serral, has to be said. Like, that looked really scary for a bit, but in firm control. Yeah, the only thing you really have to be worried about if you're ever lost in the Netherlands is that you accidentally walk too far south and you end up in Belgium. Ooh. Ooh. Ugh. Ugh. No, 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 no. No, you wouldn't want that. Big problem. But other than that, you're probably fine. You'll survive. Command center on the low ground here for Maru. Maru looks at this situation. He's like, yo, this is perfect. Let me make a command center out in the open. I could make it inside of the main base and take the flight of shame down, but we're not doing that. Is this base going to be safe? I mean, the Marines are taking a short path home. Luckily, right here for Serral, he did not... Or for Maru, rather. Serral did not go quick link speed. Perfect interception here in the end. Wow. Dude, I think I can almost feel Serral's salt. Like, I can almost feel the tilt. That previous game, too, by the way. Like, Serral was winning. Yeah, I want to say from, like, minute 15 to minute 30 or so. But Maru was not gonna give up. And that's rightfully the thing to do, right? But... if you are indeed already on the verge of being a little tilted, like what we saw in game number 3, if you're already a kind of ragey, for Maru to draw it out for that long, when it's pretty obvious that he doesn't really have much of a way to win unless Zerk horribly messes up. Like, I don't think Maru should have left earlier, don't get me wrong, but this game as well, Serral opens up with, like, as far as like rock, paper, scissors go, going pool first against the proxy Rex is just about perfect, right? Like, that's kind of what you want. So, for the defense there to still be so tough, there are some instances where pool first is actually inferior too. But anyways, it's just kind of funny. There's certainly a little bit of frustration coming into play here for the finisher, I would imagine. Medevac drop goes into the main base. And maybe this can be the great equalizer. Oh, light him up! Light him up! Oh, yo, he's going deep. Okay. Yeah. Could have been an absolute disaster. That first line of attack could have got, I think, about 10 workers all on its own. 7 drones end up dying, but it's at the cost of both a medevac and then 4 of those Hellions. Don't like it. Double armory. There's no freaking way. Brother has a double Rex, but he's going into double armory now. He's making the switch on over towards Terran mech. Alright, strap in, guys. We are settling in for another 30-minute, 40-minute banger here at this rate. Because Serral doesn't really have an easy way to try and get rid of this Terran army. Like, his economy is decent, but not amazing. Serral needs to build it up. He doesn't have great tech, so he needs to start up a lair right now. I don't think Serral's going to be attacking anytime soon. And Maru is making the same assumption, so because of it, he's decided to be pretty greedy. Not really land the 3rd command center yet, although he's going to make an attempt for it right now. But we have double armory in the back of the Terran's main base. 4 factories building all simultaneously. Maru is once more ready to go for a very large macro game if he's given the chance. And I don't disagree. Like, this is, again, a bad spot for him. Just like the second half of that previous game, but it's very playable. And maybe you can catch your opponent off guard. I mean, Serral's going Beanlings right now. Serral's going Infestation, or Evo Chamber, rather. Maybe he's going to go Infestation Pit in a moment when the lair is done. But Serral is not really prepared to play Terran mech. Yeah, we're going to go straight into the Cyclone improvement too. I wouldn't be surprised to see Blue Flame start up momentarily. Maru was basically saying, yo, if you attack anytime soon, I'm super dead. But maybe you won't. And if you don't, I have a chance to potentially get back into the thing. Roach Warren coming up right now here for the finisher. I think he has recognized that something weird's going on. That second Evo Chamber is going to be for missile upgrade rather than melee, which was the original intention, I'm sure. Blue Flame indeed, very quickly. Now, the only downside here for this particular setup right now for Maru is that he does not have Banshees. I feel like the Banshees really have been a key component to making Terran mech work. This is going to be much more classical Terran battle mech. So it seems to be purely Hellions and Cyclones for now. This was a popular style, especially like a year ago, but then they ended up bug fixing the Cyclone, and ever since then it's just been not as powerful. It's still potent, but not as powerful as it was some time ago. Serral's gonna wrap around, and that'll be the end of the Hellions. They're gonna turn into Hellbats before they ultimately explode. After the +1 carapace, the second Evo Chamber is researching melee now. Looks like another Cyclone or two that ended up dying. Fourth command center starts up. Yeah, Serral's playing this super cautiously right here. Maru has like no units, does he? Like, what does he have? He's got 3 Hellions, 2 Hellbats now, and then 5 Cyclones and 7 Marines. It's a very weak army. This is one of those situations where I think in a Serral, like if Serral was playing a macro game, it's fine for him, but I think if he would play aggressively, the game would be over very quickly. The issue is that he doesn't really know exactly what's going on, and obviously he's 3-1 behind in a best of 7. He's 1 map away from an absolute disaster. So he decides to just play it super safe. Like, rather than taking a risk and basically relying on the opponent for potentially being too greedy or maybe making a mistake, he decides to just do what he can actually control himself. Oftentimes the right call. Control what you can control. Don't worry about the things that you can't. Oh, beautiful surround here. Yeah. But this very greedy follow-up is giving Maru a fighting chance. Hive coming up. Spire halfway done. Looks like we're going Brute Lords again, given enough time. 5th hatchery building at the top of the map. 2-2 is nearly, like this one is already like 3/4 of the way done. Pretty sick. 5th command center hiding in the main base. Orbital command. Maru. Yeah. Maru hates planetaries lately, man. Like, he's 4-batals right now. It's gonna be more dead Cyclones. Yeah, Cyclones are expensive. Now, likewise, the units that he's trading out for it aren't cheap. But shutting this sort of thing down is huge. Massive Baneling roll-by ready to go in to the 3rd base of Terran. But look at the amount of workers that Maru actually built up. Considering the eco disaster that he was in earlier on in this game with the filled barracks opener, right? Like, I mean, he's found himself with 92 SCVs. He's built up a bunch of command centers. He's making more of them. This is not a great spot for Terran, but it's far from a disaster. Now this, however, Serral actually could have... What? Wow, he could have had both the mineral line as well as the SCV transfer. Now he ends up settling for the scraps. He wasn't paying attention to it, I suppose. I guess he was just looking at the main fight, not quite realizing that there was going to be a transfer at the same time. No, bam! We got a big detonation over at the 3rd, and well, that is going to be enough. I think that's enough for Serral to be pleased with the outcome of that many Banelings traded out. 28 of those bad boys end up falling. Command center over here gets denied as well. Okay. Serral now firmly in the driver's seat for this particular game. But how do you kill Terran mech? Like, what do you do? So far, I haven't really seen anything too convincing in this particular series. Every time that Terran has gone mech, it seems to be extremely difficult for Serral to get the job done. Yeah, it seems like Serral's game plan is basically just to try and soft contain the opponent on a certain amount of bases. So in this instance, he's basically saying, yo, you can have 4 bases, but no more than that. He will try and break through this right now at the front lines, and he is going Brute Lord Infestor on the back of this once more. But this is not a killing push. It's not for, I guess he's not aiming for like a slam dunk win. He's aiming for like a very slow suffocation over time, you know? Like, he's just trying to see if he can win in the long run. I'm sure he has tried many different ways to try and shove for the victory right here, but it's probably considered too risky. And even though I feel like Maru's army has been pretty terrible for honestly most of this game, Serral has not really been able to find a way to really punish it. Here we go again. Do we have Neural Parasite available? We do. It's gonna be more siege tanks. The siege tanks helping out the Zerg for just a moment before they ultimately will die. So corrosive balls are going to connect as well. The tanks actually have woken up again from their stasis. I'm assuming it's like a stasis. In the meantime, we have some Hellbats going in, or some Hellions rather, going in on the other side of the map. Loads of drones do die, by the way. Yeah. Serral's working very hard to get 18 SCV kills, but then Maru matches it with relative ease. Immediate drone reproduction, though, and that's the real strength, of course, of that larva mechanic. More and more Cyclones are also so deep onto creep and will likely not be able to make their way home. Yeah, this is a disaster for Maru. So this can all be traced back to the double barracks opener. It's a while ago at this point in time, but Maru has been in a world of trouble ever since. And again, Serral doesn't really seem to go for the quick kill. So many siege tanks over here, man. That's so risky. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, okay, Serral backs up. The tank shots are good. Orbital command does get repaired. Serral swoops the units around the side instead. Siege tank numbers are big. We have some Corruptors coming, though, and that means that Brute Lords will likely be next. So again, what do you do right now as Maru, right? Like, where do you win this game? You are behind economically. You're behind in army. You're behind in basically every aspect of the game. You have nothing going for you. You're going up against the man who's considered to be the #1 player on the planet. I mean, your main out is the Zerg here making a tremendous error. Serral's got the whole map. Maru is stuck in his opening quadrant. Maru's previous plan was pretty obvious. Try to stay alive. It's not even really a win condition. It is more or less just a way to drag the game on. I guess you invite more chances for the opponent to mess things up. And I think we've all seen that the late game for Zerg is also pretty tough. Just so many flimsy units that all need to be controlled really well. Kind of lacking that solid backbone that the Terran late game army seems to have. But yeah, I honestly, I have a hard time imagining seeing Serral let this slip out of his hands. He's now taking the upper right. He's taking the 6 o'clock base too. Serral has taken the entirety of the map. This may be an anti-tilt game as well, right? Like, yeah, the idea of tilting your opponent is nice, but this, to me, feels like a near unlosable game for Serral. It isn't. Like, I could definitely lose this from Serral's point of view. Like, if we were to switch keyboards right now, right, and he'd be sitting down to cast and I'd be sitting down to play, I'm sure I could ruin it, but everything in this game has gone really well here for the finisher. He's moving through right here at the front lines right now. A couple of neural parasites, a couple of corrosive biles. Lovely stuff there. Always good EMPs. I always like the corrosive biles into the neural parasite play. Brute Lords are a little overly exposed though. Yeah, this is a bloodbath right here for Zerg. Serral just got absolutely destroyed. Whoa, 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 okay. An uncommon mistake right there from the world champ. Loses a tremendous amount of supply, forced to quickly remax. This is what Maru was hoping for. This exact situation is basically what Maru was hoping for. Gonna be able to get a couple of the expensive units as well as they try to retreat. Never count a Terran player with mech out. They're always ready to mech it happen. They're prepared when you try to mech it rain. Still though, Serral's coming through with a load of units. And fighting on creep for this type of army is tough. There are some hellbats in the mix. Oh, okay. Sure. Bring those guys. Serral sending in Zerglings again to go after the big siege tank lines over here. Expansion in the upper right also denied. That's where these 12 SUV kills came from, I'm sure. And there will be more of it as well. Serral ready to break through. Blinding Cloud does indeed get planted down. It's going to disable a whole load of tanks. And, well, there's layers to this sort of stuff, you know? It's like an onion or an ogre. There's layers of siege tanks. 49 SCVs is really difficult to recover from. That means that Maru is now all in. This is what he's got. Serral's maxed out. Maru is half of that amount. Somehow he's still making his army look really scary. But there's so many units now coming out of those Zerg cocoons still. Man, Zerg is so freaking flimsy. Like, I'm still half afraid. Serral miscontrols one of his 17 different hotkeys, and somehow the game still seems to flip in Maru's favor. Seems nigh impossible, though. All right, GG gets cold. Serral gets a second win on the board. Okay, and that takes us to Tourmaline. Map 6 in this best of 7. What a ridiculously long series so far. I did not quite realize what I signed up for, but you know what? I'm very happy that I did. What an absolute banger of StarCraft 2 so far. You know, the only downside with series like this is that I almost wonder if it's too long for me to post this sort of thing to YouTube. Like, does anybody still watch this on YouTube? I'm like over 2 hours in at this point. Might be too much for a single cast. I'm gonna upload it anyways. We'll find out whether or not anybody watches it. I mean, if you like StarCraft, this really is the absolute pinnacle, though, and it is so beautiful. All right, it's a double barracks opener. Maru's second back-to-back proxy. Hatchery first here for Serral. Hatch, gas, pool. Spicy. Very spicy. Can Serral actually confirm, though, the reverse sweep, right? I mean, he just won 2 games in a row. Reasonably convincingly, too. Maybe he would have liked it all to be a bit cleaner, but the wins were definitely there. Maru winning that 3rd game so, like, just very, very convincingly, especially game number 3 with the mass Battlecruiser strategy, right? Like, Serral didn't really seem to stand a chance. Slowly but surely, the finisher is climbing up the ramp yet again. You will see here that it is indeed going to be a cheeky cheese. This time around, not a pool first opener, so the boys will have to be pooled. And it's time to dance. Spinecrawler immediately gets morphed in. Drone gets split off at the last possible second. Beautiful micro here so far by Serral. Needs to be careful, though. He wants to get a wraparound on those Marines. So far, the Marines are targeting very nicely as well. Maru slipping through everything. Dang. I had no idea that he greased up the Marines before they left the barracks there. These are very slippy. Have a bucket of Vaseline before they leave out onto the battlefield, I guess. It's that last 1 second of production time. Alright, ultimately though, even though the bunker is here, we should salvage it. It's too late now. Can no longer salvage when it takes damage. So that'll be all of those minerals down the drain. And those Marines are gonna have to make the walk of shame. Now, it's a bit embarrassing, but you know what? Ooh. There's no Zergling speed coming in. So even though these guys look hungry, they're not gonna be able to do too much. Yeah, I wonder why those Marines were so slippy. They seem more slippy than per usual. Normally that's a task of the Reaper. Maybe they did go through the Reaper locker room. What do you think is going on in the Reaper locker room? Like, clearly it's a different place. Clearly the Marines and the Marauders share the same spot, because that's where they get their Stimpaks. The Reapers and the Ghosts probably have some different luxury area or something, I don't know. For the fancy boys. This time around though, even though we went mech in the previous game, we are gonna scout with one of the complete barracks, it seems. Like, this thing is gonna burn down before it will ever make its way home. An extra command center added into the mix. Zergling Scout now into the main base too. Double NG Bay. Dude, I love Maru so much with his decisions, dude. This is so silly. So, previous game, he brings both barracks back home. Doesn't bother scouting after the cheese goes south, right? What does he do? He has 2 barracks at home. Goes Terran mech. Now he sacrifices one of the barracks for full scouting of the Zerg. And now he plays bio? Now we're going into double NG Bay? Okay. Well, would have been nice to have an extra structure available, but I guess we don't care. Yeah, when you reach this level, logic can be thrown out of the window. We don't have to worry about such things anymore. So we can talk more about the barracks locker rooms. I think it's very safe to assume that the Stimpaks are indeed distributed in the locker rooms. That's why the Marines and the Marauders share one, in my mind. The Ghosts and the Reapers, they don't have access to Stimpak. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if they would. I think Reapers would be a very interesting late game unit if somehow, some way, they would have access to this beautiful upgrade right over here. But I do think it's safe to say that indeed the Marines just now did raid the locker room of the Reapers, because they seemed very slippery. Just tubs of Vaseline everywhere. Anyhow. Yeah, so we're forced to build the barracks up again at home. Starport now inside of, where is it? Where's the starport? Is this the starport? Ah, that's the starport right over here. Then where's the extra barracks? Okay, we're building it right over there, and then there's one over here. Okay, never mind. I'm hallucinating. Slowly losing my mind as well after this very long series, apparently. I no longer see the structures in the middle of my screen. Bailing that's coming up for Serral. Lair building up for Serral. He did prioritize the +1 armor again. Wonder if we're gonna follow this up with a blind Roach Warren. Probably not. Yeah, he sees additional Marines here, but are these the Marines from earlier on? He only killed 2 of them. A little difficult to call. Hellions ended up getting that one pesky Zergling. And that means they will burn. Now, what I really do like here from Maru is the timing of these 2 NG Bay upgrades. Maru has been consistently focused on double upgrades in this series. And I really wonder if that's one of the reasons why he's made the games look so comfortable, at least the ones that he won. Getting those upgrades early on is a big deal. Now, what we're lacking here is an armory. No, we have an armory, so we should really fire up 2-2. Man, he even got that armory so quickly. If Serral scouts it, he may assume it's actually for a Hellbat push. When really, it's here for 2-2. There we go. +2 armor, +2 attack. And it's just creating so much momentum on the back of this. Like, look, Serral just fired up the +1 attack for his own units. He will have the +1 armor done at the very least, but it means that for, like, the next 10 minutes, Maru is going to have an upgrade lead. And it's so powerful. When you have these early game troops especially, those Marines benefit from it so gratefully. Okay, let's see. That is that spine crawler that helped out in the early game. 4th hatchery in a world of trouble. Hellbat's trying to join in as well. Gets the kill on the base. Pick up, get out. Okay. Sorry, guys. You didn't fit in the plane. Maru got exactly what he came for. And that is a very big advantage, because we were just about ready to see the Zerg player drone up to 4th. Right now, Serral will not have that option. I mean, he can make the drones, and he is making the drones. But it means that he will be either long-distance mining or oversaturating his existing bases. So it's going to severely slow down his eco. The Zerglings attempted a little bit of a counter-attack as well down south at that newly made 3rd base of Maru, but not going to happen. And suddenly, this absolute nosedive in the income advantage is because of the mules mining, but also because of the fact that that 4th hatchery of Zerg got delayed so much. Maru's going to check if the other alternative base was taken. Not the case. He will know that once more the base on the left side then is going to be taken, even though he hasn't technically seen it. It's the only logical thing. Imagine if he would have run over here and killed another hatchery again. Zerglings are chasing each other down here. They're basically like cats. They like to do it sometimes. They get the zoomies every once in a while. What about this? There's an alternative. Oh, beautiful. Maru is doing a little bit of gaming again. Targets down a baneling as well before he lifts up. He did the cool guy lift up as well. You see that? Boost the medevac first and then comes sailing through. Now 2-2 is done. A little bit of creep clearing. Yep. Yeah, sure. Keep it going. One Hellbat trying its absolute best. Serral wants to reach those medevacs. But that's, of course, the downside when you play this type of unit composition as Zerg. You should never technically be able to get those medevacs unless Terran makes a really significant blunder. Now, it's easy to do when you do this much multitasking here. But this is definitely the cleanest marine control that we've seen so far in this series. What about the baneling drop, though? Ooh! Okay. I missed it. Maru almost missed it. 13 SCVs end up getting sniped there. That is spicy. You can't see it, but this Overlord has got a giant grin on its face. It's kind of covered, I guess, by the giant balloon above its head. What about this base again in the middle? Maru still, by the way. Like, the thing is, losing 12 SCVs, 13 SCVs in total in this game, yeah, nearly 10 minutes in, it doesn't hit as hard. Like, Maru can just remake those workers with this many CCs, it's easy. He's already building up Command Center number 5. He did go planetary this time around on the 4th, but I think that's mostly because of the positioning of it. Hatchery in the middle is going to go down again. Medevacs come to save whoever's nearby. Hatchery on the right side also cancelled. Maru is picking up the pace here, man. Look at the supply count right now. This is a game where Serral should feel reasonably comfortable, because this is the type of style he plays against on the EU server all the bloody time, but he's getting out-controlled. Maybe we're fatigued? Do you think that's possible? Do programmers get tired? Can anybody check? Yo, can anybody check if programmers are human? That'd be nice. I wonder. Because I get tired sometimes, and I've been playing a human in IRL for a long time, but I've always kind of had the feeling that top-of-the-line pros in SC2 have an energy source that I don't have access to. But Serral seems to be fizzling out a little bit in this particular game, and Maru's got positive momentum on his side right now. Serral, though, still has a lot of units, and this is a very finicky Terran army composition to micro. He needs to be boosting that medevac away. Finally does it. A lot of Terran units do end up falling. Again, though, Hatchery on the right side ends up falling down, too. One Overlord takes a beating in the middle of the map. All army hotkey towards the right side, it looks like, judging by the path right there of those medevacs. Maru has decided to put all of his eggs in one basket. Will he be able to snipe the third hatchery of the Zerg? He will not because of the transfusions for now, but there's plenty of Terran units nearby. The Marauders just have to sneeze at that hatchery one last time, and indeed it is going to happen, I think. Yep, there we go. All the energy out of the Queens is gone. Serral loses the third base. And while he finally gets that base up north going, while he finally is finishing up the hatchery here in the middle, losing the third is a massive problem. The lack of creep as well is just massive at this point. You just don't have any way to move around. Rather than being proactive about your defense, Serral has to be reactive. And while Maru has been allergic to making planetaries in the previous games, now he's gone for a planetary at both the 4th as well as the 5th. Run by with the Lynx is going to be shut down easy peasy. And now there is a 70 supply advantage here for the South Korean Terran player. GG gets cold. And there we have it. In a 2.5 hour long or so banger between these two players, it is Maru who gets his revenge and wins the series 4-2. GG.